Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Gunner Fan TV. Hope everybody is doing great. Big up yourself, each and every one of you who subscribed to the channel so far. And if you have not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, show your boy some love, like and share the video, people. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about Arsenal's performance this week, match week 10. People were still atop of the league. We're still top of the Premier League, bro. 6 points clear of City. And as I said in previous videos, I was never worried about Liverpool. City was always my concern because we know Pep. 6 points, and I don't think we're really safe. We're not safe at 6 points. So what we have to do is we have to continue winning, continue doing what we've been doing, and just not really worry about anybody else, to be honest. Just stay humble. And I'm saying this to the fan base too, man. We get carried away a lot. Just don't get carried away. Don't let the ops have anything to talk about. But yes, we're confident that we could still continue this lead, and we could still win the Premier League, man. We could still win. At this point, it's only 6 points ahead. Currently week 10. But if we continue and we stay consistent, we could definitely do it. Now let's look on the game this weekend. Let's just briefly break it down and talk about performances overall. I felt like this was the best 45 minutes I've seen, not just for Gyökeres, because I wanted to highlight that really quick also, but not just for Gyökeres, but for the entire team on a whole. I was struggling to find a player who wasn't performing up to par, and it was very difficult finding a player who was playing poorly on the day. I felt like everyone in their position, they were playing as expected, right? Now, if I'm going to nitpick, let me nitpick for just a quick second. If I'm going to nitpick, I would say Saka, based on what you've come to know, what you've come to know from Saka and the way he plays and the performance he gives you every single game. I would say that wasn't his best game. And this is me clutching at straws, looking for a reason to find a player who didn't play well in that game. If we're going to talk about standards, he was a little bit below his standards, right? But other than that, bro, let me be honest. Yeah, he missed two chances. He should have scored. Yakar should have got two assists. But still, the entire team played well. And this is what you want on a perfect day, on a given day. This is what you want. You want the entire team to be performing. You don't want to be carrying anybody on the team. And I don't think we carried anyone for that first 45 minutes. Now, it did change in the second half. That could be due. That could be due to a lot of things. It could be. It could be due to Gyökeres coming off and putting in Marino, and he's not that traditional number 9, and he's not going to give you what Gyökeres has been giving you and what the team is now used to, right? So they're used to having a forward who's running those lines, running those channels, right? Holding up play, right? Just being that out and out striker. The team has now gotten used to playing that style of football. So when you take that out and you're putting someone in like a Marino who doesn't give you that, that's not his game, then things will things will tend to break down. And from my assessment, I think that's what happened in the second half. It could also be the team was instructed to just take their foot off the gas, right? Because as we know, we haven't conceded any goals last month, right? Over 600 and something minutes of gameplay, and we haven't conceded a goal. That may also be that was probably said. That was probably said. That was probably something that's coming from within the team itself to just, hey, we have a game tomorrow, right? Well, this was this weekend, but we have a game on Tuesday. Let's just relax. Let's just take your foot off the gas a little bit and, try not to get anybody injured, try not to get any unnecessary cards and just, rest and manage the game. I mean, I'm guessing here, but the game did change in the second half, and we weren't able to score any more goals, and we didn't look the attacking threat that we were in the first 45. Didn't look like Burnley was going to score either way, but it didn't seem like we were gonna really score any more goals. But the first half for me, I was very, very, very impressed. And as I said, I thought everybody on the field played well. The back four was exceptional. They didn't have a shot on target in that first half. The midfielders controlled the game. Rice and Zubimendi. What I liked was them interchanging the position between them both. Right. Sometimes Rice would go forward. Sometimes we would go forward, and they would just take turns and they would cover each other, and they would, it was just beautiful watching them control the game. As a Trossard played well also. They were bossing their positions. Never really had any issues over there giving the ball away, or good assist by Trossard to Rice, coming from a counter attacking play. They had a corner, I think it was headed on to Gyökeres by Saka. Beautiful pass by Victor over to Trossard, and Trossard with the composure. I think he was on his left foot. I think it was. I don't think he cut it back on his right. I think he just kind of put it on his left foot and just whipped it across the Rice, and Rice with a beautiful header. Like overall, man, the team looked good in that first half, and I think most Arsenal fans, we were a bit annoyed to see the change in the second half. Victor coming off. I think for the most part, and people are saying it's only Burnley, but Burnley almost beat Liverpool. It doesn't matter. Any team in this league could give you issues, give you problem on a given day. And I don't want to hear this whole thing about it. So it's Burnley. So, you know, we shouldn't take anything. We shouldn't get excited because it's Burnley. Nah, man. Burnley is newly promoted, but they're also not sitting in the bottom half of the league. They're not in a relegation battle. They're not in a relegation battle. For a team that has just been promoted um from the championship, and now they're competing. It doesn't look like they're going to go down, right? The teams that are actually the teams that all three teams that were promoted, it seems like they're going to stay up, which is crazy, right? The teams at the bottom are teams that have been in the Premier League, right? So it's Forest, it's Wolves, and is it? I think West Ham, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the bottom three teams. It's none of the newly promoted teams. So that says a lot, right? So Burnley is they weren't going to be a walkover team, right? And they've shown that throughout the 10 games so far. They've been giving teams problems, and this is why they're not in the bottom 3 at this point. So it doesn't matter what team we're playing. We just have to play our game. We have to continue to be disciplined, continue to execute this plan. And the teams that will give us issue, the team that used to give us issues in the past, we can't keep repeating the same thing over and over. We have to figure out a way. And I don't want to go back to this point. I don't want to be negative, but Mikel has had enough time to figure that out, to figure out the teams that we would drop points against, like the West Ham, the Forest, you know what I mean? Teams like the mid Aston Villa, teams like those who typically give us issues, give us problems. We have to figure out how to beat teams like these, right? He's had enough time to figure it out, and it seems like he's figured it out, right? And with Gabriel Heinze coming in, I think this is very underrated. A lot of people are not talking about this. I think with him coming into the coaching staff, you've seen a big lift, a big improvement defensively. I don't think it's coincidence, guys. I don't think it's coincidence. With him coming into the team, he was a defensive player. He's a defensive minded coach. I think this is making the difference. I mean, I don't know, I'm not saying 100% this is the case, but if I'm going to make a guess, like he's the only new variable within this equation. And I think with him coming in, he's made a significant improvement in our defensive style and our defensive play. We've been keeping clean sheets for a while. We're keeping teams out, right? And I know defense doesn't necessarily win you a title. We need to score goals and we need to win, but we're also doing that. We lost one game thus far, and it's 10 games in, right? So we got to give the boys credit. Again, great performance. Great. I think the first half was the best performance I've seen this season, if I'm going to be honest. and I think most of you guys will agree with me. So looking into tomorrow, Champions League, we go to Czech, right? Um Czech Republic, right? If I'm not, I think I got that right. Yeah. Slavia Prague. Yeah, here we go. God damn. Slavia Prague. We go there tomorrow. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're unbeaten. They're unbeaten in their league, in their domestic league. So we can't really take them lightly, even though this is the Champions League. I mean, they play a different league, but they're not an easy team. We can't just go there and think that we're gonna run over them with a B team, right? This is not where we need to rest players because after this game we have Bayern Munich. Excuse me. And if we beat Bayern Munich, then automatically we're qualified. We'll qualify out of this phase onto the next phase of this Champions League. So we're we're without certain players tomorrow. Um, in Mikel's press conference, he did say Gyökeres will not be available for the game tomorrow. Um, they need to do more tests. And he said typically he doesn't have he doesn't have muscular injuries, right? He's never really had a muscular injury. So for him to really have something of this nature, it might be cause for concern. So out of abundance of caution or precaution or whatever you want to call it, they're gonna not include him tomorrow into the squad, and they're gonna do some more tests in the upcoming days. We're also without Zubimende, who's on 2 yellow cards, so he won't be available for tomorrow, along with the other injured players, Odegaard, Kai, the rest, Madueke, all these guys are unavailable. Um, but we still have a strong team, and this is what we've been waiting for as it pertains to Arsenal, having a strong team. So when we have issues like this, where when we have injuries, when we have players unavailable, we'll have the depth to put these players in to fill those voids, and it won't be a drop off. It won't be a big drop off. Because remember when Saka was out, Madueke came in. It's like it wasn't a drop off. You know what I mean? He was performing at that level, right? So if we have a player like Zubi out, you know, no guard should be able to come in and do a job. You know what I mean? Rice could still go in that position and play the Superman role while you could bring Wanieri in and you could have Eze in there just the same way. If Saka's out again, you still have Max Diamond, who could, still play that position. I think the only issue, the only shortfall we may be looking at is a striker. No Gyökeres is potentially has an injury. Moreno is a different kind of striker. He could do the job. We know he could do the job because we saw him last season. But he's not going to give you what Gyökeres has been giving you and what the team has. Um, they've come to gotten used to. Right now, they're used to the way a real striker plays and how to support that striker. So you're not going to see. You might see a little bit of drop off in terms of how we support um how the team supports a striker, the makeshift striker. It's going to be different, right? You might see a drop off there, but nothing too crazy, nothing to worry about. I think we should be able to beat this team tomorrow, even without the players, even with the players that are unavailable. We should be able to win that game tomorrow away against Prague. But we'll see. I mean, it's football, and anything could happen. So the players that we're expecting to come back this month, the month of November, they're scheduled around November 23rd. All four, coincidentally, are scheduled for around November 23rd. Odegaard, Kai, Madueke. Um, who am I missing? I'm missing one. Odegaard, Madueke, Kai Havertz. Who else was missing? There's one more. It's slipping my mind now. But all those players are scheduled to come back on the 23rd of this month. So that's a big plus for us. We can start rotating again. We can start, just giving players rest. And that's just good for the entire team because we know what happened last season, when we were just playing players playing them to the ground, bro. They need to rest and we had no choice. We rushed Saka back. You know what I mean? A lot of players were just Timber came off a ACL and he was just still running, bro. He was still playing every single game. You know what I mean? So, when these players come back, we'll have a bigger squad rotation where certain players are able to get rest. Um, so that's just good for the team overall. But you know we're looking good. We're top of the league, and we just need to continue to do the simple things right. That's it. Mikel Arteta has had 6 years in the job, and no other coach in the Premier League apart from Pep has had the time that he's had. So for him, that's listen, that's more than you can ask for because there's nobody spending this time in a coaching position and not producing silverware and titles, right? And he's been sitting in his position for a while, so he needs to win something this year. But I'm not going to be negative. I'm just going to stay positive, right? Because he's been doing a good job this season. So let's give him his flowers. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Be safe out there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.